Breathe in and let it go. The night settles softly around you, like a blanket woven from silence. Outside, the air moves gently, brushing against the leaves, whispering through open space. You can almost hear the rhythm of the world slowing, a pulse beneath everything, quiet and ancient. Now, take another breath. Slower this time. Let it drift through you, like mist gliding over a still lake. Feel how it cools the mind, how it smooths the edges of thought. You're here. You are safe. You are allowed to rest. Imagine your thoughts as small ripples upon water, faint, shimmering, fading with time. You don't need to stop them. You only need to watch. Each one rises, widens, and disappears into stillness. Beneath them, the water remains unbroken. Beneath every thought, there is quiet. Notice how the body softens when the mind no longer needs to hold the world. Your shoulders release their weight. The space between your brows loosens. Even your heartbeat begins to listen. Slower, rounder, deeper. There is no rush here, no demand to be anywhere else. You can rest in this single breath, and it will carry you in and out, a tide that never fails. The mind may wander. Let it, like clouds drifting across the sky. They do not harm the sky. Let them pass. The sky remains vast, untouched, waiting. Now, imagine your breath as a thread of silver mist. With every inhale, it enters the body, and with every exhale, it leaves traces of calm over the skin, through the bones, into the earth beneath you. The body is no longer separate from the air. You are breathing with the world, not against it. Somewhere, water moves, a slow stream in the dark, its voice patient and soft. It does not force its way forward. It only follows the shape of what is, curving, flowing, surrendering. Listen to that. Let your breath follow its rhythm. The wind outside pauses. Time folds a little. And in this quiet, the first ripple begins, not of effort, but of awareness. The world is still moving, yet you are still. The night continues, yet you are timeless within it. There is nothing more to do, only this. Breathe and feel. There is a lake inside your mind. Most days, it shimmers and shifts, waves upon waves, never quite still. Thoughts rise like wind gusts, stirring the surface. Worries ripple through it. Unfinished tasks, things you said, things left unsaid. The lake responds to everything, reflecting, distorting, remembering. You can almost see it now, that restless mirror. Every emotion, every fleeting image touches its skin. The surface quivers. The reflections break apart. The world above becomes fractured, and so does the one within. This is how the mind moves when it forgets its own depth. Every sound, every thought, every passing feeling becomes a pebble dropped into water, one after another, circles upon circles, until clarity is lost beneath the trembling waves. And yet, even in its movement, the lake is not wrong. It is only responding, doing what water does. It listens to the wind. It answers to the weather. The mind, too, is like this, tender, reactive, endlessly mirroring what surrounds it. You may notice how thoughts echo, one worry repeating the voice of another, like ripples colliding. The past whispers through the present, and the future hums its anxious tune. Noise, motion, reflection, all blending into a kind of quiet chaos. But deeper down, beneath the restless surface, the water is untouched. It is heavy with stillness. It does not tremble when the wind blows above. It waits, deep and calm, knowing that storms always pass. Take a breath. Let it travel down into that still layer. Feel yourself descending through the water, through the flickering light, until you reach the silence below the sound. Down here, no thoughts can disturb you. Down here, the lake remembers its peace. When the wind stops, the surface smooths. The broken reflections come together again. The sky reappears, whole, unshattered. The lake mirrors it perfectly, effortlessly. Only when the water is still can it show the truth of the sky. Only when the mind is quiet can it reflect what is real. You don't need to force the stillness, just allow it to return on its own. The mind knows how to rest. The lake knows how to calm. Listen to the faint rhythm, the tiny ripples softening, the surface evening out. The world inside you begins to slow. The sky above clears, blue and infinite. And as you breathe, you realize the lake has never been broken, only stirred. Stillness was waiting all along, beneath the waves. Listen closely now. Can you hear it? A gentle pause, the space between sounds, between thoughts, between one ripple and the next. It is small, almost invisible, yet it holds the whole sky within it. When a ripple fades before another begins, there is a hush, a quiet so light it can only be felt, not heard. It is not absence, it is presence, but quieter than the mind can think. This is where awareness lives, not in the movement of the waves, but in the stillness that watches them. You might notice it now, between your breaths, that moment where the inhale ends and the exhale hasn't yet begun. For an instant, there is nothing, no sound, no thought, no trying, only a delicate space, open and endless. That is the whisper between ripples. Let yourself rest there. You don't need to hold it or name it. You only need to feel it touch you, like a feather brushing against the inside of your chest. The mind often believes peace must be earned. That calm arrives after solving or controlling. But this stillness does not wait for anything to be finished. It is here, always underneath the noise, like a soft current beneath restless water. Each time a thought arises, it ripples outward and fades. Watch it go. Watch the next one come. You are not the ripple. You are the lake that holds them. You are not the voice. You are the silence listening. Notice how the quiet begins to widen, like dawn light stretching across water. The gaps between thoughts grow longer, the surface smoother. You start to sense something vast within that quiet, not empty, but full of ease, full of being. If you listen closely enough, you'll hear a whisper, not from outside, but from within. You can rest now. It isn't spoken in words. It moves like breath, like light on water, like time slowing until it almost stops. The whisper is not telling you what to do. It is simply reminding you that you already are. There's a peace so gentle that it doesn't announce itself. It arrives like the fading of sound, like snow falling on still water, like sleep approaching without asking. Stay with this whisper a little longer, between the ripples, beneath the noise, behind your thoughts. This is the threshold of still awareness. No effort, no sound, no distance, only this. A quiet that holds everything and needs nothing. Somewhere not far from where your thoughts drift, Water is moving. You can almost hear it, a soft murmur over stone, a sigh through tall grass. It flows without hurry, without fear of where it is going. It does not resist the curves that shape it. It does not argue with gravity or stone. It bends. It yields. And in yielding, it finds its strength. Water has no plan, yet it never loses its way. It moves with the pull of the unseen, quiet, patient, eternal. When it meets an obstacle, it does not fight. It touches, listens, and finds another path. If it cannot pass, it waits, gathers, and one day it overflows, not from anger, but from persistence. You can see it in rivers, in rain, in the tide's slow return. Each drop is both separate and the same, part of something vast and unending. Listen, can you feel its rhythm under your breath? The inhale, the gathering, the exhale, the release, a tide within you, mirroring the one beyond you. Water is soft, but it wears down mountains. It is clear, yet it hides unfathomable depth. It reflects the sky, yet carries the darkness of the deep. And through it all, it remains itself, untroubled, unchanged. There is a wisdom in this, the way of flowing, the art of allowing. The ancients called it the way, the path that everything follows, the quiet movement of the universe that needs no command. It is the current beneath all things, guiding without force, creating without control. To follow the way is not to stop moving. It is to move as water moves, effortlessly, naturally, with trust. There is no need to push the river. The river is already flowing. Perhaps life, too, is asking you to stop struggling upstream. Perhaps peace begins when you turn and let the current carry you. Notice how, even now, the water in your imagination keeps flowing beyond the banks, beyond your thoughts. It knows no boundaries. It shapes the world by touching it softly. Over time, it erodes stone not through violence, but through patience. Everything it meets, it transforms. Rock becomes smooth, sand becomes shore, air becomes mist. In its quiet persistence, it shapes everything. And maybe it is calling you, not with words, but with a presence you can feel. It whispers, come as you are, flow as you are. There is no need to be anything else. The water does not ask the rain where it came from, nor the sea where it is going. It simply moves. It simply is. Now, close your eyes and feel its motion inside you. The gentle pull, the slow release, the body, the breath, the mind, all moving with the same quiet rhythm. This is not doing, this is being, this is flow. And as the water continues its endless journey, you might begin to wonder, what if life flows like this too? The world hums with motion. Even in the stillness of night, something is always running. Machines, lights, thoughts. You can almost hear it now, the faint ticking of clocks, the steady pulse of time keeping score of your every hour, messages waiting, deadlines leaning forward like shadows, notifications flickering in the dark, each one whispering now, now, now. It is strange how life has become a rhythm of urgency, a constant reaching, a breath that never fully exhales. You move from one task to another, carrying invisible weight in your chest, a hum of unfinished things. The phone lights up, the train roars by. The city breathes in restless patterns, neon veins pulsing through its concrete heart. You breathe too, but it feels like the air never reaches deep enough. The chest rises, falls, rises again, always half full, always waiting for the next demand. There is a fatigue that seeps not into muscle, but into being. It is the tiredness of always having to be something, to perform, to produce, to stay ahead. Even in silence, the echoes of the day remain, conversations replaying, choices reconsidered, a subtle ache of not enough. You might remember how mornings start with lists, how evenings end with screens. The hours blur into a line that never stops. Work, rest, scroll, repeat. And in the middle of it all, your mind keeps spinning like a wheel that forgot how to slow down. Even when there's nothing left to do, the habit of doing continues. The noise doesn't need sound. It lives in thought. Listen closely, and you can hear its layers, the ticking, the rushing, the countless tiny voices saying more effort, more speed, more meaning, more proof that you exist. But underneath all that noise, there is another sound, faint, steady, like a heartbeat you had forgotten. It doesn't rush. It doesn't demand. It waits for you. Beneath the static, beneath the world's hum, you can feel it if you stop. The moment when time loosens its grip, when the ticking fades, when breath returns. The world may keep turning, but not everything inside you must. There is a space, small but real, where the noise cannot reach. It's there, behind the hum of engines, beneath the rhythm of deadlines, inside the pause between two thoughts. And maybe tonight, you have come to listen for it again. The quiet that lives beneath all doing, the stillness that never left you, only waited for you to remember. We try so hard to hold the world together. Lists, schedules, plans, each one a small wall we build against uncertainty. We draw lines around our days and tell ourselves, this is mine to command. Control feels safe. It gives shape to the formless, light to the unknown. Yet the tighter we hold, the more we feel it slip. Time escapes. People change. The sky moves on whether or not we watch it. Still, we keep tightening our grip on outcomes, on others, on ourselves. We imagine peace will come when everything finally fits, when every variable bends to our will. But control is a mirage. Every time you reach it, it drifts farther away. Notice the weight in your hands when you try to steer the unsteerable. The tension lives in your shoulders, in your chest, in the space behind your eyes. It is the effort of keeping the tide from turning. The truth is simpler, softer. Life does not need your control to unfold. The wind does not ask which way to blow. The rain does not request permission to fall. They move because that is their nature. What if you could trust life the way the sea trusts the moon? Drawn, not forced. Close your eyes. Feel the pulse beneath your skin, the quiet rhythm that never needed managing. It moves whether you think of it or not. Breath happens. The heart continues. Even in sleep, the body finds its way. This is the way, the movement of things as they are, not as we demand them to be. To live aligned with it is not to give up. It is to give over, to flow, not to force. Every moment you try to master the river, you leave the water. Every moment you surrender, you return to its current. There is freedom in not knowing, peace in not planning every turn. Control is heavy, trust is light. One confines the heart, the other lets it breathe. Let the hands unclench. Let the thoughts uncoil. Let the day unfold without your constant supervision. The sky will still move. The sun will still rise. And you will still be carried forward. Because the truth is, you were never steering. You were always floating, gently, unknowingly, in the flow of something larger, wiser, endlessly kind. There is a part of you that has been swimming for as long as you can remember. Arms reaching, muscles tightening, always pushing against the current. You tell yourself it's necessary, that to stay afloat, you must keep moving. To stop is to sink. To rest is to fail. And yet, beneath all that effort, there is a quiet question that keeps returning. Who am I without all this doing? It waits for you between tasks, in the moments when the world goes still, in the hush of early morning, in the silence after a long day. A voice as gentle as the tide asks, if I stopped trying for a moment, would I disappear? You've built yourself around motion, around striving, achieving, proving. You've learned to measure your worth in outcomes and check marks. In the smooth hum of productivity. But what happens when the current of life grows stronger than your arms can bear? Picture yourself now in a wide, slow river. You are swimming upstream, each stroke pulling hard, your breath short, your heart loud in your chest. The water presses back, unbothered, endless. You can see the surface glimmering ahead, but it never grows closer. Every inch gained slips away in the next rush. You fight harder, and the harder you fight, the heavier the body becomes. Muscles ache, lungs burn. The river does not rage, it simply flows, indifferent to your struggle. It does not wish you harm, it only follows its nature. Eventually, the thought appears, small, quiet, almost impossible. What if I stopped? At first, fear answers. It shouts, you will drown. But the whisper beneath it says, maybe you will float. So you pause, you loosen your arms. The current catches you. For the first time in a long while, you are not fighting. You are simply being carried. The water that once resisted now supports you completely. It moves beneath you, lifting, turning, guiding. You begin to notice its temperature, its rhythm, its endless patience. It has been waiting, not for your effort, but for your trust. And as you drift, something inside begins to soften. The breath deepens, the mind quiets. The self that was built on effort, the one that always had to be doing, begins to fade, not in loss, but in relief. You are not gone. You are more here than ever. The current becomes your pulse. The sound of water becomes your heartbeat. You are both the one who floats and the river that carries. It turns out that rest is not the opposite of progress. Rest is the moment when progress stops pretending to be yours. The river has always been moving. The flow has always known the way. To surrender is not to give up. It is to remember that life never asked you to fight so hard, only to move with it, to trust its depth, to let yourself be held. Let the arms rest. Let the body be light again. The current will carry you farther than effort ever could. The body remembers what the mind forgets. Every thought you've carried, every plan, every quiet worry has found its way into the muscles. A weight beneath the skin. The shoulders hold the world. The chest guards against what it cannot control. The jaw, the hands, the back all quietly braced against the flow. But now, you can stop. Let yourself feel the heaviness you've been avoiding. Do not run from it. Just breathe into it. Gently inhale and notice how the air travels down your spine, into the ribs, into the heart. Exhale and feel the body begin to melt, not collapse, but release like ice softening into water. The bed beneath you, the floor, the ground, they are all waiting to hold your weight. You don't need to hold yourself anymore. The earth knows how. With each breath, the edges of the body blur. The fingers no longer grasp. The jaw unknots. The shoulders sink. The air grows warmer around you, slower, thicker, as if time itself is exhaling. In this stillness, you begin to feel something subtle, the difference between doing and allowing. The breath happens by itself. The heart moves on its own. The body sways with the rhythm of something ancient, something that has always known how to flow. Perhaps this is what the old sages meant when they spoke of Wu Wei, effortless action, the art of not forcing. It is not the absence of motion, but the presence of harmony. The stream does not push the stone aside, it glides around it. The clouds do not strain to become rain. They simply fall when the time is right. Everything moves by its own design. And you, for this small, perfect moment, are part of that design. You are not the swimmer now. You are the water. You move without effort, without decision. You are carried by the same quiet intelligence that turns night into dawn and breath into life. There is nothing to fix here, nothing to control. You are allowed to rest in what already works. Even the smallest leaf on the river knows how to follow the current. Take another breath, deeper this time. Let the air fill you, then drift away, soft as mist. Each exhale is a surrender. The body learning again what trust feels like. You can sense it now, the still point beneath the movement, the place inside you that does not rush, that does not strain. It listens, it receives, it simply is. And from that stillness, peace begins to rise, not as a reward, but as a natural unfolding, like light blooming at the edge of water. You are not trying to be calm. You are remembering that calm was always here, waiting beneath the noise. Perhaps peace doesn't come when we finish everything, or understand everything, or fix everything. Perhaps peace begins when we stop fighting the current. If you watch water closely, you will see that it never hurries. It moves in its own rhythm, steady, unforced, patient. Even when it seems still, it is quietly traveling, finding its way through the smallest cracks, down the gentlest slopes, toward a place it has never doubted it will reach. There is no rush in its motion, no tension in its flow. The stream does not compete with the river. The river does not race the sea. Each part moves in harmony with its own nature, guided by gravity, by grace. You can almost hear its calm language, a fluent silence that says, "There is time for everything." How different this is from the way we live. We measure life in speed and progress, in how quickly we can arrive. But arrival, for water, is never the goal. Its only purpose is to keep flowing, to remain in movement, to continue being what it is. Watch how it bends around stone, how it pauses in small pools before continuing again. There is no sense of frustration, no resistance. No rush to be elsewhere. It knows that stillness is part of the journey too. Perhaps that is the secret we've forgotten, that slowness is not delay, it is harmony. When we slow down, we return to the rhythm that everything natural already follows. The heart beats, the breath moves, the sun rises and sets. Nothing hurries, and yet all things are done. The water's patience holds a kind of wisdom. It trusts that life unfolds at its own perfect pace. It does not ask the mountain to move faster, nor the sky to rain sooner. It only follows what is, and somehow, through its calm, it shapes the world. It smooths the sharpness of rocks. It deepens valleys. It gives life wherever it passes. Its gentleness is its power. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine being like that, unhurried, certain in your pace. You do not need to push yourself to flow. You only need to remember the current that already carries you. Even now, in this quiet, you can feel it beneath your breath, a soft pulse, a natural rhythm that does not need your command. When you move with it, time expands. The world feels wider, kinder, more whole. You realize that the water has never been in a hurry, because it has never been lost. It simply follows the pull of the earth, the invisible path home. And maybe you too are being carried, not behind or ahead, but exactly where you are meant to be. If you have ever stood beside a river long enough, you have seen the quiet truth of its power. Stone after stone, worn smooth by touch alone, not shattered, not broken, but softened into shape by patience. The rocks are strong, yet they do not last. The water is soft, yet it endures. It is a paradox so simple that we forget it. The yielding overcomes the rigid. We are taught that strength is hardness, to stand firm, to resist, to never bend. But hardness cracks when time presses long enough. Rigidity shatters under the slow persistence of change. Water never shatters. It bends. It gives. It transforms. And by doing so, it outlives everything that resists it. Watch how it moves, pressing against stone. It does not fight. It glides. It curves. It listens. It finds the smallest path and takes it inch by inch, year by year. It shapes entire valleys. Its force is not in its push, but in its willingness to yield. Because yielding is not weakness, it is wisdom. Softness understands what resistance forgets, that time itself is on its side. Think of the rain falling on mountains, the rivers winding through canyons, the waves smoothing jagged cliffs into sand. None of these happen in haste. They are quiet victories, invisible in the moment, undeniable in the end. Water's gentleness is not a lack of power. It is a deeper kind of power, one that doesn't need to prove itself. It simply continues. And perhaps that is the truest form of strength, to keep flowing when the world turns solid, to remain gentle when everything else becomes sharp. Now imagine yourself as water for a moment. The world may be full of edges, of hardness, of noise, but you are not bound by them. You slip between, you shape without forcing, you move without breaking. Where others build walls, you find a way through. Where others fight, you listen. You do not need to win, you only need to continue. In the softness of water, there is courage, the courage to stay open, to remain kind, to let life move through you without closing. Feel that now, in your breath, the inhale like a gentle wave rising, The exhale like the tide receding, leaving the sand smooth and quiet. You are learning, perhaps for the first time, that gentleness can hold the same strength as steel. A strength that doesn't demand, that doesn't wound, that doesn't boast. Even the hardest hearts are reshaped by kindness, the way rock is shaped by rain. Even the fiercest storms end in calm seas. Softness holds everything, the way the ocean holds every river. It welcomes, absorbs, renews. You do not have to harden to survive. You only have to remember the wisdom of water, that to yield is not to surrender, but to harmonize with what already is. The rock stands proud for a moment. The water moves forever. The rock resists. The water remains. And so, again, the truth whispers itself across the centuries, across the riverbeds and the waves. Yielding overcomes the rigid. Softness endures. When the wind stills and the water rests, a mirror appears. It reflects the sky in perfect silence, every cloud, every star, every passing bird. The surface does nothing, and yet it holds everything. This is the nature of clarity. It cannot be forced. It happens when disturbance fades. Your mind, too, is such a lake. Each thought is a ripple, each emotion a breeze moving across its surface. When the mind is stirred, the reflections break apart. The world looks fragmented, distorted, not because the sky has changed, but because the water has forgotten its stillness. The more we try to fix the reflection, the more we disturb it. We poke at the surface, wanting clearer images, better answers, calmer thoughts, and all the while, the ripples grow. But water never polishes itself. It simply lets the wind pass. And in time, the mirror returns. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that your thoughts are ripples spreading outward, faint and dissolving. Watch them fade into wider rings of calm. Behind each thought is another space, open, quiet, endless. Beneath the surface of that space lies the depth, unseen, dark, and infinite. While the reflection belongs to the surface, the depth belongs to the soul. It is the part of you untouched by noise, unshaken by weather. The place where silence breathes. Look deeper, and you'll find that what you call your mind is not a single thing, but layers of water. The moving, the still, the deep. The moving reacts, the still reflects. The deep simply is. When you live only at the surface, life feels unstable. Bright one moment, clouded the next. But when you sink into your depth, peace no longer depends on what the sky is doing. The world can turn stormy, yet the depth remains calm. The sky can vanish behind clouds, yet the lake still knows it is there. Awareness is like that. It doesn't need perfection to reflect truth. It only needs to stop fighting the movement. You do not need to clear the sky of every cloud. You only need to let the water be still enough to see through. The mirror never holds on to what it reflects. It welcomes everything, releases everything. The sun comes and it shines. The moon arrives and it glows. Each image is received fully and then let go. That is how the wise heart lives, open enough to reflect the world, quiet enough to return to itself. If you can rest in that stillness, the mind no longer divides what it sees into good or bad, success or failure. It simply mirrors the moment. And in that mirroring, understanding dawns, not through effort, but through seeing clearly. So let your thoughts drift like clouds across the water. Let your heart become the lake that receives and releases. Let your depth remind you of what has always been true. You do not need to fix the reflection. You only need to let it clear. For when the water is still, the sky appears, whole, endless, and already beautiful. High in the mountains, a spring is born. It doesn't force its beginning, it simply overflows. From a single drop, the stream begins its journey. No decision, no ambition, only movement. It glides over moss and stone, curving where the land curves, resting where the land dips. It is never in conflict with what surrounds it, and yet it finds its way to the valley, to the river, to the sea. This is Wu Wei, doing without doing, action that arises not from effort, but from alignment. Water doesn't wake one morning and declare its plan. It follows the shape of the world, responding to what is already there. If a rock stands in its way, it doesn't resist. It listens. It flows around, over, or through. Whichever the moment allows, its intelligence lies in its trust. There is no struggle in this movement, no pride in its progress, just the quiet knowing. The path reveals itself when I stop trying to make it. We often live as though we must carve the path with our own hands, as though every outcome depends on our control. But life, like the stream, already holds the directions within its curves. When we force the current, we lose its rhythm. When we yield to it, we discover we were never lost. Imagine walking beside that mountain stream now. The water slides past you, shimmering, unhurried. You reach down to touch it. It doesn't stop for you, yet it welcomes your hand. It belongs to no one, and therefore belongs to everything. That's the spirit of Wu Wei, to move with the world, not against it, to act when the moment calls, and to rest when it doesn't. In this way, doing becomes effortless. Effort becomes grace. Close your eyes and breathe with the rhythm of that stream. Inhale the rise of water over stone. Exhale the fall into a quiet pool. Each breath a small wave, returning, returning, returning. There is no need to rush toward meaning. It unfolds when you stop demanding it. There is no need to push for peace. It finds you when you stop searching. Just as the water does not strain to be the river, you do not need to strain to be yourself. What is natural does not need permission to flow. And when you begin to trust this, not as a theory, but as a feeling, something inside softens. The tightness in your chest loosens. The thoughts lose their urgency, and life begins to move again. Quietly, naturally. This is not passivity. It is participation without resistance. It is being moved, not merely moving. The masters of the old way knew this secret, that the greatest power lies in harmony, not in control, in letting things unfold, not forcing them open. The stream keeps flowing long after all effort has ended. And as you listen to its voice, that soft, eternal murmur through the earth, it asks only this: can you let your life move like water? Can you trust that what is meant for you will find you, not through force, but through flow? The mind loves to steer. It clutches the wheel tightly, eyes fixed on the horizon, always scanning for direction. It believes that only through steering can life move correctly, that control is safety, and safety is peace. You can feel it even now. The constant hum of planning beneath your thoughts. The next task, the next step, the next version of who you must become. The steering mind never rests. It charts the map before the ocean has even revealed itself. But the sea is vast, and it never keeps its promise to stay still. Winds shift, waves rise, the compass spins, and yet we keep turning the wheel, hoping that effort alone will hold the tides in place. Listen carefully. Can you hear that faint groan of the rudder straining against the current? It is the sound of resistance, the tension between what is and what we demand it to be. The steering mind fears surrender because it confuses control with meaning. It whispers, if I let go, I will drift. If I drift, I will be lost. But the truth is gentler. The ocean doesn't need your steering to reach the shore. The currents have been carrying travelers long before rudders were built, long before fear learned to navigate by logic. The more tightly you hold the wheel, the more you feel the storm. But when you loosen your grip, something changes. The motion softens. The noise of effort fades. You begin to sense a rhythm larger than your own intention. The quiet guidance beneath the chaos. Sometimes, you only need to tilt the sail and let the wind lead. Sometimes, doing less allows the world to do more. The steering mind cannot understand this because it thrives on tension. It measures life by progress and movement. Yet peace is not a destination. It is the moment you realize there's nowhere you need to go to be held by the sea. Close your eyes. Feel the gentle rocking beneath you, the way the body adjusts naturally, without thought, without command. The boat is already balanced. The water already knows the way. All that is left is to listen. You are not lost. You are being carried. Slowly, silently, across a tide that does not need your control to move. The mind will still reach for the wheel. It is its nature. But now, you know something deeper. Steering was never the only way to travel. Sometimes, the truest journey begins when the hands finally let go. To drift, the word alone makes the heart uneasy. It sounds like surrender, like being untethered, like losing the map that promised safety. We've been taught that direction equals worth, that to wander is to waste, that stillness means falling behind. And so we row harder, we chart the stars, trace the coastlines, keep the oars moving even when the wind has gone quiet. The fear of drifting whispers, if I stop, I will be forgotten. If I drift, I will disappear. But look closer. What if the tide that carries you knows more than the map you cling to? The sea has no straight lines. Its paths are made of curves, eddies, and gentle swirls. Even when you seem to be floating aimlessly, you are still being moved by currents too deep for the eye to see. You are not lost. You are being guided. There is a rhythm beneath the surface, a steady pull that belongs to something ancient, something wider than your fear. It does not hurry, yet it never falters. Every wave knows where it's going, even when it looks like it's simply drifting. We fear drifting because it feels like weakness, as though letting go of control means losing ourselves. But drifting is not losing, it's trusting the tide. The tide does not abandon what it carries. It lifts, it holds, it leads everything home. Perhaps what you call aimlessness is simply the moment before the next direction reveals itself. Perhaps uncertainty is not an absence of purpose, but the space where purpose ripens. Close your eyes now and feel that slow movement beneath you, the gentle sway, the invisible guidance. Notice how your body already knows how to float. You don't need to command your muscles to do it. They remember. They trust the water. That's all the tide asks of you. To remember that floating is not falling, that release is not defeat. Drifting allows you to meet the world as it is, unplanned, unfolding, alive. It allows the wind to find your sails, the currents to show you hidden shores. Control is a cage built from fear. Drifting is the courage to open the door. The waves that seem to carry you nowhere may, in truth, be carrying you exactly where you need to go, just not in the straight line your mind imagined. And when you finally stop fighting the drift, something miraculous happens. The water feels softer, the sky wider, the heart lighter. You realize that life has always known how to move, and that you, too, were born of that same knowing. Drifting is not losing. It's remembering that you belong to the tide. Imagine yourself lying on the surface of a river. The water is cool and alive beneath you, holding you in its quiet strength. The current moves slowly, not pulling, not pushing, simply carrying. The sky above is open, soft with clouds, wide enough to remind you of something older than thought. At first, your body resists. You feel the instinct to tense, to keep yourself afloat through effort. Your arms twitch, your breath shortens. Your heart measures the distance to the shore. You are still the swimmer, the one who must always do, who must always try. But then the river speaks, not in words, but in rhythm. It moves beneath your spine, steady and kind, whispering the truth it has known since the beginning. You are safe here. So you let the muscles loosen, one by one. The shoulders sink, the hands open. Your breathing begins to match the movement of the water. In, out, rise, fall. The river breathes with you. There is a moment, a small, sacred moment, when you stop trying to float and realize that you already are. The body becomes light. The water holds you without question. The river does not need your effort. It has been carrying countless lives before yours, and it will carry countless more after. This is trust, not a thought, not a decision, but a returning. You feel the rhythm beneath your skin, the quiet strength that comes from surrender. The current does not promise where it will take you, but it promises it will take you somewhere. Somewhere meant, somewhere true. Trusting the river means believing in what you cannot see. You do not know where it bends or how deep it runs, but you trust that movement is its nature, and rest is part of its flow. Perhaps all of life is a river, each moment a current guiding us home, each breath a ripple in its endless tide. We waste so much strength fighting the very thing that would hold us. And yet, when you let go, you find that the river has been gentle all along. Close your eyes again. Feel the sun on your face, the rhythm beneath your back. Notice how effortlessly the body belongs to this motion. The water doesn't judge how you float. It doesn't ask you to deserve its care. It simply holds, because that is what it was made to do. In trusting, you become lighter, not just in the body, but in spirit. You stop gripping the edges of life and start resting in its center. The fear of sinking fades because you realize that even if you did, the river would still hold you. There is an ancient intelligence in this flow, one that needs no plan, no perfection. It is the same intelligence that turns seeds toward light, that brings the moon to the tide, that carries your breath in and out without command. When you surrender to it, you are not giving up. You're coming home. Let yourself be carried now, without resistance. Let the current teach you what trust feels like. The river knows the way. It always has. And for tonight, that is enough. There comes a moment, after all the struggling and steering, when the body finally remembers how to rest. It doesn't happen through decision. It happens the way dusk happens. Slowly, softly, naturally. You are still floating on the river. The water hums beneath you, warm now, steady. The air smells faintly of rain and earth. Everything that once felt tight begins to loosen. The fingers, the breath, the mind. This is what surrender feels like. It's not a fall, it's a melting, a dissolving of effort into ease. The muscles that once carried your fear now simply exist. The river moves. You move with it. Nothing to plan, nothing to hold, nothing to fight. At first, it feels unfamiliar, this quietness that asks nothing of you. The mind, trained to anticipate, tries to find meaning, tries to measure safety. But soon, even those thoughts tire. They fade like voices heard from underwater. And what remains is weightlessness. The sense that you are both body and air, both river and current. Surrender is not the end of motion. It is motion without resistance. It is the wave accepting the pull of the sea. It is the leaf carried by wind, not fallen, but flown. For so long you have believed that peace must be earned, that you must work for it, fight for it, deserve it. But peace was never hiding behind struggle. It was only waiting for you to stop. Listen, can you hear it? That low hum beneath all sound. The rhythm that continues even when everything else goes quiet. That is life itself, moving through you. It has been there all along, guiding, holding, becoming. When you surrender to it, you do not disappear. You expand. The boundaries between self and world blur until you realize there was never a line at all. This surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the soul remembering that it was never separate from the flow. The water carries you not because you are powerless, but because you belong. The current is not your enemy. It is the rhythm of the same life that beats within your chest. Let yourself drift. Let the river decide the pace. You are exactly where you are meant to be, between movement and stillness, between letting go and being held. Each breath becomes a release. Each exhale, a quiet affirmation. I am safe. I am carried. I am enough. The heaviness of control begins to fade, replaced by the lightness of trust. And in that lightness, you begin to feel a peace that doesn't depend on outcomes. A peace that simply exists, like air, like water, like time. Surrender is the soul's return to gravity, not the kind that pulls you down, but the kind that brings you home. The river doesn't ask where you're going. It only asks you to stop resisting. So breathe, float, let it take you. Because control is heavy, surrender is light. The earth moves in quiet circles. Day becomes night. Night becomes day. The simplest miracle, repeating without hurry, without pause. The sun rises not because it must, but because it cannot do otherwise. The moon follows, patient and tender, keeping rhythm with tides and time. Everything in nature moves to this silent beat, a slow, steady pulse beneath the noise of living. You can feel it if you listen closely. In the wind breathing through the trees, in the waves folding against the shore, in the soft percussion of rain on open ground. Nothing in nature rushes, and yet everything is accomplished. The morning begins with light. The air opens like lungs taking a first breath. Birds call to the day, leaves tilt toward the warmth. There is motion everywhere, but no strain, only response, only harmony. By evening, the rhythm changes. The world exhales. The light withdraws gently. Shadows lengthen. And what was active turns inward. The creatures of daylight rest, and the night beings awaken to their softer tempo. Even in darkness, life continues to hum, quieter, slower, deepening into stillness. And then the cycle begins again. Seasons, too, follow their sacred rhythm. Spring unfurls in tenderness, green fingers reaching from the soil. Summer expands, vibrant and full, like a heartbeat at its strongest. Autumn slows the pulse, letting the leaves drift, golden and tired. Winter stills everything into breathless quiet. Where rest becomes renewal, nature doesn't resist its own rhythm. It doesn't ask for endless light, nor flee from darkness. It trusts both. You, too, are made of this rhythm. Your breath rises and falls like the tide. Your heart beats with the turning of the earth. Every cell in your body is tuned to this ancient pattern, the same pulse that moves through wind, through trees, through time. But somewhere along the way, we forgot how to listen. We build our own clocks, our own pace, faster, louder, relentless. We mistook urgency for purpose and exhaustion for achievement. Yet the earth has never stopped singing its song beneath our footsteps, waiting for us to remember. If you pause now, you can hear it, the low hum beneath your heartbeat, the echo of a cycle much older than your plans. In this moment, let yourself fall back into sync. Feel the breath of the world moving through you, the inhale of dawn, the exhale of dusk. You are not separate from the rhythm. You are part of the orchestra, one quiet note in an endless, beautiful song. And as you listen, as you match your breath to the pulse of the earth, something inside you realigns, simple, soft, whole again. There is a kind of peace that only simplicity can bring, not the simplicity of less, but the simplicity of enough, the quiet knowing that being is already complete. Look at the trees. They do not hurry to grow. They just grow. No branch compares itself to another. No leaf wonders if it has done enough to deserve the sun. Each simply fulfills its nature, reaching when the light calls, resting when the night returns. The tree does not ask, "How tall will I be?" It trusts the seasons to guide its rhythm. It sheds when it must, blossoms when the time is right, and stands, just stands, through wind, through rain, through silence. We, too, were once that simple, before the noise, before the endless striving. We knew how to exist without measuring ourselves, to breathe without expectation, to move without judgment. But somewhere along the way, The mind forgot the ease of being. It replaced wonder with goals, rhythm with urgency, presence with plans. It began to believe that to be was not enough, that worth required constant proof. And yet, the clouds never worry about where they drift. They shift and scatter, form and fade, becoming rain, then mist, then sky again. Their beauty lies not in permanence, but in change. To live like the tree, like the cloud, is to remember that life doesn't demand performance, only participation. You do not need to be extraordinary to belong. You belong simply because you are here, breathing, part of the same quiet order that moves the leaves and tides. Pause now and listen to your own breath. Notice how it enters, how it leaves, without needing your control. This, too, is nature, the rhythm within you echoing the rhythm outside. Simplicity is not dullness, it is clarity. It is the space that opens when you stop trying to be more than the moment. It is the kind of peace that grows in silence, in soft mornings, in small, unmeasured joys. The warmth of sunlight on skin, the scent of rain on earth, the sound of wind finding its way through leaves. You do not need to chase meaning. Meaning finds you when you are still enough to receive it. Life was never meant to be a contest of becoming. It is an unfolding, slow, gentle, inevitable. The flower does not bloom by effort. The mountain does not rise through striving. Even the smallest seed holds the pattern of its becoming. And time takes care of the rest. So let yourself be like the tree, patient, rooted, open to both sunlight and shadow. Let yourself be like the cloud, unbound, ever-changing, soft in your movement. You do not need to become the world. You only need to remember that you are part of it. In the simplicity of being, the noise dissolves, the striving fades, and all that remains is a still pulse, steady, quiet, alive. The earth breathes, and so do you. Life moves in pairs, inhale and exhale, day and night, birth and rest. The universe speaks in this quiet symmetry, a dance between opposites that are never truly apart. In the stillness before dawn, yin holds sway, soft, inward, receptive. The sky is dark, the air cool, the earth turned inward. Then, slowly, light begins to gather at the edges of the world, and yang awakens, bright, expansive, full of motion. Together, they weave the fabric of time, giving shape to every breath, every season, every heartbeat. Everything you see, everything you are, moves to this rhythm. Inhale, yang, the reaching, the becoming. Exhale, yin, the returning, the release. The body knows this truth even when the mind forgets. You cannot breathe in forever, nor can you exhale without end. The cycle sustains itself by balance, not by force. To live in harmony is to honor both, the rise and the fall, the doing and the undoing, the sound and the silence that follows. The world has its tides, so do you. There are days when energy expands, when you build, connect, and create. That is your yang. There are days when you draw inward, when rest and reflection call. That is your yin. Both are sacred, both are necessary. When we resist these cycles, we begin to fracture. We chase light without allowing darkness, productivity without pause, growth without stillness. And in doing so, we lose the very harmony that holds life together. But when you live with the rhythm, When you let your breath and days follow the gentle swing between activity and rest, you return to what the ancients called Wu Wei, effortless action. It is not inaction. It is cooperation with the pattern of the world. When the wind blows, the bird spreads its wings. When the air stills, it folds them. The flight is not forced. It is guided. Look at the moon. It waxes. It wanes. It never clings to fullness, never fears its darkening. In both states, it is whole. To live in balance is to accept that every expansion must return, every rise must soften, every breath must fall back into stillness. This is not loss, it is renewal. Close your eyes now and breathe with the rhythm of the earth. Inhale, feel the body brighten, the chest widen, the pulse quicken. Exhale, feel everything settle, sink, and soften. This is the dance of yin and yang within you. It has always been there, guiding each heartbeat, shaping each thought, reminding you that life's wisdom lies not in constancy, but in change. To live by this rhythm is to trust the tide within your own being, to know when to reach, when to release, and when to simply rest in between. There is no need to chase balance. You are made of it. It hums in your breath. It flows in your blood. It glows in the quiet meeting of sunlight and shadow. When you honor both yin and yang, you stop fighting the flow. You begin to live as the world lives, effortless, complete, whole. And in that wholeness, peace returns, soft, natural, inevitable. There is a rhythm that belongs to you, not the rhythm of clocks or calendars, but the one that hums beneath your heartbeat, quiet, unmeasured, alive. It has always been there, waiting for you to notice it again. Begin here with the breath. Inhale slowly. Feel the cool air entering, the gentle rise of your chest. Exhale softly. Feel the warmth leaving, the subtle release. This is your first rhythm, the ancient dance between body and air. You don't have to control it. You only have to listen. The breath knows what to do. It has known since before you had words for peace. Every creature on earth moves to this invisible beat. The tides follow it. The trees breathe it through their leaves. The stars trace it in their slow turning across the sky. You are not separate from that movement. You are made of it, somewhere along the way. The world taught you to rush ahead of your own tempo, to force the breath, to override fatigue, to demand wakefulness from a body that longs for rest. But nature never rushes, and still, everything unfolds. You do not need to earn the next breath. It comes to you freely, perfectly timed. Let that remind you. Life, too, unfolds in rhythm, not by control, but by cooperation. Notice now the weight of your body, the way the bed or the ground beneath you holds it fully. The gentle pulse of gravity, the quiet push of the earth supporting you. You are being held right now by something vast and effortless. Let the breath slow even more. Inhale, rise, exhale, fall. The sound of the air is the sound of the ocean moving within you. And as your breath deepens, your thoughts begin to loosen. They no longer chase. They drift. The space between them widens. The mind begins to mirror the river, calm, clear, reflective. You might begin to feel the body softening into the rhythm of sleep. The heart slows, the muscles sink. The body knows the way to rest without instruction. just as rivers know their way to the sea. This is your flow, unique, but never alone. It belongs to the greater rhythm that moves through everything. There is no single tempo you must follow, no perfect timing to match. The rhythm of your life may be slower or faster, brighter or quieter, but it is true, because it is yours. When you walk, let the breath guide your steps. When you work, let focus come and go like the tide. When you rest, let the earth breathe for you. You do not need to push the river. You are already in its current. All that is required is trust. Trust in the quiet intelligence of your body. Trust in the rhythm of the world. Trust that even in stillness, you are moving. The breath continues. The world continues. And you, gentle traveler, continue with it. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are part of the rhythm, not apart from it. There is a space between thoughts, so small, so subtle, you almost never notice it. It appears in the instant after one idea fades, before the next begins. A pause so quiet that the mind slips through it like light through mist. Listen closely now, not to the words, not to the meaning, but to what lies beneath them. The hush that follows each breath, the still pulse behind the heartbeat, the silence that holds every sound. This is not emptiness. It is presence. A vast stillness that doesn't belong to past or future, only now. Here, there is no rush, no remembering, no becoming. There is only being. You might feel as though time has slowed, or perhaps disappeared. The breath moves gently, but you no longer follow it. You are simply aware of air, of warmth, of existence itself. Thoughts still come, but they arrive like clouds drifting across an endless sky. They form, dissolve, and leave no trace. The sky does not chase them, it only holds them, then releases. You are that sky. You are that space. In this stillness, you are untouched by the noise of thinking, unburdened by the stories, the striving, the endless narrating of what life should be. All of that exists on the surface, like ripples on water. Beneath it, there is silence. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of fullness. A silence that listens. A silence that is. Let yourself fall into it now. You don't need to do anything to enter. You're already here. You've always been here. Every moment you've ever lived has had this space inside it. A quiet middle where awareness rests. You may not have noticed before, because the mind prefers motion, prefers noise. But even motion happens within stillness. Even noise happens within silence. Stay here for a while. No need to hold on. No need to name what you feel. Just breathe softly and let the quiet widen. This is the space between thoughts, the pause that is not empty, the stillness that is not waiting, the nothing that holds everything. Here, you are not the thinker. You are not the thought. You are the silence that allows both to appear and fade. And in that silence, there is peace so deep it does not even call itself peace. Time begins to loosen. The seconds no longer march. They drift, soft as petals floating down a quiet stream. Each breath feels wider, slower, longer than before. As though the body has remembered a deeper rhythm, older than the clock's insistence. The mind, once full of edges and urgency, begins to smooth. Thoughts move like distant clouds now, far enough away that they no longer define you. What remains is vastness, not the kind you can see, but the kind you feel, a widening from within, silent and endless. Awareness expands like dawn, gently, without effort. There is no reaching, no pushing toward clarity. It arrives on its own, like light, revealing what was always there. You begin to notice everything at once. The soft air around your skin, the pulse at your wrists, the faint weight of your body resting upon the earth. Each sensation distinct, yet part of one continuous whole. There is no boundary between you and what surrounds you. The breath deepens, flowing in like the tide. Each inhale gathers the world. Each exhale releases it back, seamless, infinite. If you listen closely, you might sense that the breath is no longer yours alone. It belongs to the trees exhaling through leaves, to the ocean drawing and releasing its waves, to the rhythm of night and day themselves. You breathe as the world breathes, effortlessly, eternally. Time stretches thin here. Moments lose their edges. The mind, so used to counting and or dividing, finds nothing to measure. You realize that awareness doesn't live inside you. You live inside it. It extends beyond thought, beyond skin, beyond even the sense of self. It is not something you make. It is something you remember. There is no beginning to this awareness and no end. It doesn't belong to the past or the future. It simply is. You rest in it the way the sky rests above mountains, quietly, completely, without needing to hold. In this place, you can sense the pulse of life moving through everything, a rhythm without hurry, without demand. Even silence feels alive. Even stillness hums with motion. There is nothing to solve here, nothing to name. The need to understand fades, replaced by a softer knowing, one that doesn't use words, one that feels like light dissolving into water. The breath continues, slow, round, eternal. The body feels lighter, almost translucent. The heart beats, not as effort, but as song. You might begin to sense that this spaciousness has always been with you, beneath the noise, beneath the tension, beneath every story of who you thought you were. It is the quiet field where everything arises and returns, untouched and unbroken. Time slows and awareness expands until there is no separation between the two. The moment becomes endless, one breath stretching across infinity. Stay here. There is nowhere else to go. You are not outside of life looking in. You are the space through which it flows. Let the breath lengthen once more. Inhale the world. Exhale into it. Nothing is apart. Nothing is missing. The body rests. The mind opens. And you, wide as the sky, calm as deep water, simply are. Imagine now that you are floating, not in water, not in air, but in something softer still. The world beneath you fades, weight dissolves, and you are suspended in an endless, gentle blue. There is no up, no down, no before, no after, only this. The air around you hums with stillness. You can feel the quiet curve of your breath expanding outward, as though the whole universe were exhaling through you. Time has no meaning here. Each moment folds into the next until they are all one. A vast, shimmering ocean of now. Now is not a point on a line. It is an ocean, infinite and still. Every wave you've ever known, every memory, every dream, they all dissolve into its calm surface. Nothing is separate. Nothing is waiting. Everything simply is. You begin to drift through it effortlessly. There is no need to move. Movement happens through you. The body is light, as if made of breath and quiet light. The mind, once a constant tide of questions, rests open like the sky, aware, but without thought. You feel each inhale as a wave rising, smooth and round. Each exhale as a wave settling, folding back into stillness. The boundary between breath and silence disappears. The boundary between self and world disappears. You are not in the moment anymore. You are the moment. The sound of your heartbeat blends with the hum of the universe. It doesn't quicken, doesn't fade. It simply echoes through the stillness, steady as eternity. The ocean of now holds you the way a mother holds a child, without expectation, without condition. You do not need to earn this peace. You only need to stop resisting it. Here, there is no doing, no thinking, no striving for what comes next. There is no story to finish, no question to answer. Everything that once felt urgent has melted into softness, drifting in the now. You realize that the present is not fragile, it is infinite. It doesn't slip away when you stop paying attention. It only deepens. Each breath expands it further, like ripples widening across water that has no shore. You can feel yourself dissolving into that vastness, not disappearing, but becoming whole. All the lines you once drew between yourself and the sky, between the breath and the world, fade like ink in rain. There is no boundary left to hold. You are not observing peace, you are peace itself. You are not floating in time. Time is floating in you. Let the breath slow again, gentle and full. Inhale, the ocean gathers beneath you. Exhale, the surface smooths into stillness. There is no beginning to this calm, no end to it. It was here before you noticed, and it will remain long after. Awareness rests effortless, open, like sunlight resting on a tide that never stops reflecting it. And as you float, you understand. You do not have to hold the moment to belong to it. You are already home, already one with the quiet, with the vastness, with the eternal now. There comes a point in the drifting where effort disappears completely. You are no longer floating on the current. You are the current. The separation between you and what moves has dissolved, quiet as mist fading into dawn. There is no longer a you who tries, no longer a watcher keeping time, only flow. The breath rises without command. The body breathes itself. Awareness expands, yet there is no one expanding it. The mind has fallen silent, not asleep, but open, endless. This is no effort, not laziness, not passivity, but the return to what moves without resistance. The universe breathes, and you are its breath. In this stillness, you might sense the boundaries soften, the idea of I dissolving like a drop into the sea. The thoughts that once defined you, your name, your plans, your story, float away, leaving behind only the quiet shimmer of existence itself. What remains is not emptiness, it is fullness, life itself, free from the weight of identity. You are no longer a wave trying to hold its shape. You are the ocean, complete in every direction. There is no center, no edge, just the smooth hum of being. And strangely, it feels familiar, because this, too, is what you've always been. long before effort, before striving, before the idea that you must be someone. The trees do not try to be trees. The stars do not try to shine. The wind does not decide to move. It simply does. So too, life lives itself through you. Every breath, every beat, every thought, each arises from the same vast stillness, the same quiet intelligence that moves rivers and galaxies alike. There is no need to hold on. There is no one left to hold. In this space, everything belongs. Joy and sadness, sound and silence, light and shadow, all part of one continuous unfolding. Even the smallest movements of air, the slow rhythm of your pulse, the fading of a thought, each carries the same sacred neutrality, effortless, complete. You might begin to realize that what you once called self was only the surface of awareness, the thin film between ocean and sky. And now that film has vanished, what remains is peace too wide to describe, too quiet to name. There is no doing peace here. There is only peace, being itself. The breath continues, soft, steady, boundless. You feel it move through you, though the word you no longer fits. There is only movement, only awareness, only the gentle hum of existence breathing through all things. This is no self, not a loss, but a release, not the end of being, but the end of separation. And in that release, life becomes simple again, like the river returning to the sea, like air returning to sky. Nothing missing, nothing extra. Everything just as it is. The river has been moving for a long time, through forests and valleys, over stones and roots, beneath countless skies. It has known the softness of rain and the weight of storms. It has curved, paused, fallen, risen, always flowing, always becoming. Now, at last, it widens. The banks that once guided it begin to fade. The air smells of salt, the light grows vast, and ahead, an endless expanse of blue. The river feels the pull of something greater than itself, gentle but irresistible. It does not resist. It knows this moment. It has always been moving toward it. The current slows, the sound deepens, and the river merges with the sea. There is no boundary between them now, no beginning, no end. The water that once had a name, a shape, a journey, dissolves into something infinite. It is not lost. It is home. Every drop that was ever carried, every reflection that ever danced upon its surface, every whisper of motion, it all remains transformed. The river does not vanish. It becomes the sea. This is what return means, not disappearance, but completeness. The path has not ended, it has opened. The destination was not somewhere else. It was the vastness waiting to receive what was never separate. You can feel the same return within yourself. All your striving, your searching, your movement through seasons and storms, each moment has been a bend in the same river, leading quietly, faithfully, toward peace. Now, as you breathe, you can sense it, the widening, the merging, the homecoming. The edges of effort soften, the need to become fades. You are being gathered gently into something greater than self. This is not an ending, it is an arrival. The river does not regret the mountain. It does not cling to the stones it once passed. It carries all of them within its depth, even as it opens to the ocean's embrace. And in that vast embrace, there is rest. The pulse of the sea becomes your own heartbeat. The rhythm of the tide becomes your breath. You are no longer moving toward peace. You are peace itself, boundless, whole, eternal. The river has returned to the sea, and you, too, are flowing home. There is no longer a river and a sea, no longer a traveler and a destination. Only water, moving within water. You float in the vastness now, weightless, without edges. The tide moves through you, and you move through it, seamless, whole. The line between where you end and the ocean begins has dissolved into something quieter, something truer. The journey you thought you were on was never a path from here to there. It was a remembering that what you sought was never outside you. You are what you sought. The flow you followed was always your own nature calling you home. In the beginning, there was a movement, the striving, the effort, the longing to reach something beyond yourself. But every wave, every turn, every still pool was simply teaching you this. The river and the sea were never separate. You were never separate. The same rhythm that carried you has always been inside you. The pulse beneath breath, the quiet expansion of awareness, the endless unfolding of life itself. Now, as you rest in this boundless stillness, you can feel it, the current moving through you without direction, without goal. It does not ask for progress. It only asks for presence. There is no doing left, only being. No more struggle between control and surrender. Only the soft, continuous motion of existence breathing through everything. You are not in the flow. You are the flow. The water's strength, its patience, its clarity, all of it lives in you. The way it bends without breaking, how it shapes the world through gentleness, that too is your nature. Even thought itself begins to thin, like mist dissolving into morning light. The words lose their grip, the self loses its shape. What remains is awareness, wide, luminous, endless. You can feel how everything connects, your breath with the wind, your heartbeat with the tide, your stillness with the silence of the stars. The entire universe moves as one slow, breathing organism, and you are not outside it. You never were. The sea rises, and you rise. The sea falls, and you fall. Every motion mirrors the same invisible rhythm, an eternal inhalation, an eternal release. There is no fear here, no need to hold on. The flow will carry you, always. It has carried you through every moment, even when you thought you were lost. It carried you through storms and stillness, through seeking and surrendering, until you could finally feel what was true all along. You were never apart from the water. You were the water learning to recognize itself. Now, the world seems quieter, not because it has changed, but because you have. The noise of effort has softened into the calm hum of being. The light around you feels fuller, softer, as if it, too, has exhaled. Everything is movement. Everything is rest. There is no contradiction. You are not the wave, and you are not the shore. You are the vastness that holds them both, the silence beneath sound, the stillness within motion, the awareness that neither begins nor ends. This is what it means to return home, not to arrive somewhere new, but to remember what was always here. You are not separate from the flow. You are the flow. You always have been. Now the river rests. The motion that once carried you through valleys and storms has slowed to a whisper. The water spreads wide and still, mirroring the stars above, each one a quiet flame trembling upon the surface. This is not the end of movement. It is its gentlest form. Rest is not the opposite of flow. It is the flow's return to silence. You can feel it in your body now. This surrender that does not mean stopping, but softening. Every muscle releases the day's effort. Every thought that once circled for meaning has found a place to land. The mind opens like a sky without weather. In this stillness, sleep begins to arrive, not as escape, but as renewal. It comes the way dawn comes, quietly, inevitably, carrying light within its calm. You drift deeper into the softness, and the body becomes weightless again. The breath slows until it feels more like the sea than your own lungs. Gentle, wide, endless. Each exhale releases what no longer needs to stay. Each inhale gathers what will begin again tomorrow. The rhythm of rest is sacred. It is the earth turning away from the sun so that night may heal what day has worn thin. It is the ocean withdrawing so that the shore can breathe. It is the tree in winter, appearing still but secretly growing rings of wisdom beneath the bark. Sleep, too, is that secret renewal. While the mind drifts, the heart restores its rhythm. The body repairs what was frayed. The spirit finds its way back to balance. Nothing is lost. Everything is quietly rebuilt. And though you may think you are sinking into darkness, you are actually being held in light, a softer light, one that glows from within rather than above. The water beneath you hums with gratitude. You can feel it, a subtle vibration, the sense that life is thankful to keep flowing through you. In this peace, even memory becomes gentle. The past no longer pulls, it settles. The future no longer presses, it waits. All that remains is this, the tender rhythm of breath and the slow, luminous pulse of being alive. The universe is resting through you now. The stars shimmer above. The waves hush below, and you float between them. A single heartbeat in the great quiet of everything. And as the mind drifts further, a soft awareness remains, not thinking, not watching, just being. It is like the warmth that lingers after sunlight leaves, like the echo of water long after it has passed. This is renewal, not effort, not doing, simply returning to the source that never runs dry. Sleep deeply. Let the current carry you through dreams like the river through moonlight. Let the breath become slower, smoother, until it disappears into the hum of the world. You are safe here. You are whole here. The river rests, and so do you. And when you wake, you will not be the same. You will be clearer, lighter, more open, because rest has done its quiet work. The water never stops flowing. It only pauses to remember its depth. The night has grown deep. The air is soft and wide, like an exhale that never ends. Somewhere in the distance, the water sighs, a low, rhythmic whisper that feels both ancient and familiar. You are still floating, not moving toward anything, not away from anything, just resting in the quiet curve of existence. The breath moves gently through you, no longer something you take, but something that takes you. Inhale. The cool air touches the edges of awareness. Exhale. The body loosens its final holding. Each breath grows slower, deeper, lighter, as though it were remembering the very first breath, the one that began this journey. Long ago, the rhythm of the river returns. The sound of water becomes the sound of your heart, and the heart becomes the echo of the sea. Every boundary dissolves. There is no body, no thought, no distance between what breathes and what is breathed. You begin to sense it, the great circle completing itself. The same flow that once began in stillness has carried you through motion, through searching, through surrender, and now it returns you to stillness again. There is no sadness here, no loss, only continuity, only peace. Everything has come full circle. The river that began as a drop of rain has found its way home to the ocean. The breath that once filled your lungs returns now to the greater air, and the awareness that has watched all things gently opens, expanding beyond name, beyond self, beyond even silence. In this moment, time folds in on itself. The first breath and the last become one. You realize they were never separate. Every inhale was an arrival, every exhale a letting go, every moment a return. The mind has no words left, only feeling, a soft pulse of gratitude. Gratitude for having flowed at all, for every current that carried you, for every still pool that taught you to rest, for every ripple that mirrored the sky. Now, even gratitude dissolves. There is only presence, vast, luminous, eternal. The world breathes with you. The ocean, the trees, the stars, all inhale and exhale in rhythm. Life continues its quiet conversation with itself. The flow does not end. It only changes form. You have become the movement itself, not a wave in the sea, but the sea becoming wave after wave after wave. Inhale once more. Slow, tender, endless. Feel the air gather softly in your chest, a gentle reminder of being. Exhale, let it go. Let everything go until only stillness remains. The breath fades into silence. The silence opens into infinity. And as the last trace of self melts into the current, a whisper remains, not a thought, not a sound, but something deeper. The wave flows on, and you softly drift with it.